ahead on 12 News, an explosion of color turns a neglected wall into a place of pride. Then, easing fears in the local Liberian community about a West African Ebola outbreak.
We should just take the necessary steps to educate and prepare.
But first, heavy hearts at Champlin Park High School after a student is killed by a suspected drunken driver. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We begin with difficult news affecting a Brooklyn Center family.
A Champlin Park High School student has died, the victim of a crash with a suspected drunken driver. State Patrol says 16-year-old Jason McCarthy died Tuesday from injuries suffered when his car was rear-ended by a suspected drunken driver last week. On his Caring Bridge website, family members say nothing will be the same without him. McCarthy would have been a junior at Champlin Park High School. State Patrol says the Coon Rapids driver who rear-ended McCarthy first sideswiped a car on Highway 252 near 85th Avenue, then about a half-mile later rear-ended the car driven by McCarthy. The second crash totaled both cars. Champlin Park Principal Mike George released a statement saying, "Our hearts are hurting anytime there is a tragedy in our Champlin Park family. In times such as these, we do all we can to support students, families, and staff." Charges are now pending against the drunken driving suspect. The deadly Ebola outbreak impacting people in West Africa is also causing concern for some in Brooklyn Park.
Because of the city's large African immigrant population, Brooklyn Park city leaders are taking steps to educate and protect the public. Reporter Sonia Goins has more.
It's not something pleasing to talk about, especially the death of a close friend.
Erasmus Williams says he can't help but to get emotional when he talks about his friend Patrick Sawyer.
We want to make sure his death does not go in vain.
Sawyer died last week while traveling in Nigeria.
We can use him to champion the fight against Ebola, in Liberia, in West Africa, and prevent it from entering into the United States and Minnesota.
I am so worried.
Zuba Paniku is the board chair of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota. His wife is in Liberia right now, and he's worried about her safety.
The fact that you are among family members, you don't know where they go during the day, and when they come in the evening, you can tell your aunt, "Don't touch me."
The deadly disease has already killed more than 600 people since the outbreak first started earlier this year. The disease is not spread through the air like the flu, but instead through bodily fluids.
Good morning, how are you? It's good to see you.
Today, community leaders met with Brooklyn Park Fire Chief Ken Perlman to talk about protecting people here at home and in Africa.
We do have at least some threat that someone boards a plane in Monrovia and makes their way to Brooklyn Park, unknowing that they may have the virus.
The chief says the threat is low, and he wants to keep it that way.
We've not seen any evidence of Ebola making it onto our shore.
Still, city emergency responders are taking extra precautions.
The routine use of gloves, additional use of respiratory protection, and some form of goggles or some kind of shield will provide the necessary protection so that they may render the medical aid that's necessary without being exposed.
The chief is hoping the situation gets better in West Africa and that all goes well here at home.
We should just take the necessary steps to educate and prepare and pray that all of our preparation is not needed.
Now, there is no cure or vaccine for the Ebola virus. Symptoms mimic the flu. They include fever, headache, vomiting, and diarrhea. You can protect yourself by washing your hands often and avoiding people who are sick. Well, Mike and Shannon, Brooklyn Park officials don't want to really scare people. They just want to educate them and make them aware of what's going on.
A lot of precaution right now.
Lots of precautions.
Right.
Thank you, Sonia.
The U.S. Supreme Court spoke. Now Minnesota DFL leaders say it is their turn to speak. In the recent Hobby Lobby case, the Supreme Court overruled federal law allowing certain for-profit companies to avoid contraception coverage. The Hobby Lobby argued it was against the company's religious beliefs. Today, Minnesota DFLers introduced legislation to ensure women have access to contraception through their employer-based health insurance. They believe the High Court ruling discriminates against women. And DFL leaders argue health care should be decided by medical professionals, not by the owner of a chain of craft stores.
The way the system is right now, most people do have health care coverage through their employers. So that is the system we have right now, and I think as long as it is, we have to make sure people are treated equally.
28 states do have some version of a contraception coverage mandate. Minnesota currently does not. The House DFL bill would allow exemptions for faith-based organizations. There is a remarkable transformation going on near Earl Brown Elementary School in Brooklyn Center.
As Eric Nelson explains, teenagers are turning a troubled spot into a colorful work of art.
But community art involves the community because people come up and talk to us.
In the shadow of a busy Minnesota interstate,
This is our paint station.
there is a Technicolor explosion going on.
This is the first time we've painted a wall that keeps unveiling itself.
A freeway wall, once scarred by gang graffiti,
It was nasty.
has morphed into a work of art.
This wall was really nasty, and then it attracted the wrong crowd.
There was gang signs up on these walls.
The wall is a stone canvas for 30-plus teenagers.
You should be proud that you have paint on your shirt because it basically represents what you're doing and how hard of a worker you are.
They began in June and will finish in mid-August.
We get a lot of life from this company.
Gang Turf is now a colorful, positive place.
We use every color we can get our hands on. A kid trying to write something on top of this would have to go to the store and buy several colors of spray paint.
It will help the gangs to be like, okay, well, like, don't paint on this wall since we've already painted on this wall.
This Great Wall of Brooklyn Center is a monster.
If you start walking at one end, you think the wall is only a few hundred feet. You come around the bend and you see it's a few thousand feet.
It stretches 1,600 feet. That is over 5 football fields long.
It's a really big wall.
The scope of the mural is so large, it requires mentoring pieces Jimmy Longoria to supervise.
We also encourage those that have talent to go and make individual canvases.
Longoria puts these young Picassos in a structured situation designed to replicate a real job.
We have a boss, assistant boss, we have people who are in charge of different things, and they're learning the real pressures of being in charge of a project like this.
My favorite part of this is probably meeting all my coworkers.
My favorite part will probably be bossing people around.
The painters are laser focused on their goal.
It's really hard because you're in the sun for 8 hours.
It gets really hot, so you gotta make sure you're staying hydrated.
Not even the summer heat can stop them.
It's a really long day, but once you get the use of it, it's really fun.
In Brooklyn Center, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
It took 3 years to get approval for the mural because the wall is near state, city, and school property. Hennepin County is putting money into efforts to improve recycling rates, especially when it comes to food waste in local schools. A program to collect food leftovers at Wayzata Elementary Cafeteria has proven so successful, they're expanding it to middle schools and the high school. Hennepin County is giving the district $40,000 to buy more sorting tables. Other local schools joining the organics recycling trend include Elm Creek Elementary in Maple Grove, Excel Academy in Brooklyn Park, and the School of Engineering and Arts in Golden Valley.
A #1 want expressed by Brooklyn Park residents in surveys is more sit-down restaurants. Well, here's one to get your taste buds sizzling. A Louisiana-style seafood restaurant called Crazy Cajun will open soon on Edinburgh Center Drive. It's right by Lemongrass Thai Restaurant and near the Broadway Pizza that just opened. Crazy Cajun will fry and boil different types of seafood, including shrimp and crawfish. Well, coming up, why summer is a great time to roll out your mat and learn yoga.
And then later in sports, it's on to the state tournament for a local VFW baseball team.
But first, the nice weather continues, but there is a chance of thunderstorms late Friday. There is good news and bad news on the money front. Consumer confidence has reached levels not seen in 7 years, and improving job picture is a big part of that. Now, the bad news, many of us are still swimming in debt. 1 out of every 3 people have unpaid bills reported to collection agencies. Those bills range from mortgages and student loans to credit cards and hospital payments. The average overdue credit debt is more than $5,000. There is a sliver of hope in getting back in the black. Credit card debt as a percentage of people's income has reached its lowest level in more than a decade. Well, if you're thinking of including more yoga in your workout, summer is the perfect time for it.
There are more classes offered outside, and there are more classes offered for free or by donation only. We rounded up a few to tell you about today in today's Money Savers.
Relax and
At the end of a long summer day in Maple Grove, there's still time to find inner peace.
Yoga and meditation, it really helps to handle this stressful life that we live in.
Punjabai Patel led yoga practices long before they were mainstream.
I volunteer. I started teaching yoga in temple in 1979.
Now he is one of more than 10 volunteers who lead practices at the Hindu Temple of Minnesota.
Yoga is for everybody. There is no age limit or physical health or condition limit. Anybody can start.
4 days a week, anyone can participate here, free or by donation.
Everybody has a different style, and people like that because people like me that come to every class get a different experience every time.
In Robbinsdale, Elam Lutheran Church offers free holy yoga every Saturday morning.
We're having a yoga class today, and it's called Holy Yoga, which means it combines faith with the movement of yoga.
You can also roll out your mat at home and go online to find free yoga. Popular ones are Do Yoga With Me, Yoga Vibes, and Do You Yoga, which even has a free 30-day yoga challenge.
Relax.
But if you look, you can find many free or low-cost yoga opportunities outside during the warm summer months.
I like being outdoors in the summertime because I've done yoga like on the beaches, like in Hawaii, and we don't always get to have beaches in Minnesota, so this is the fun part of coming here to do yoga outside.
In Maple Grove, Shannon Slatton, 12 News. Yoga classes at the Hindu Temple are offered year-round, but they are outside from mid-May to the beginning of September. And Mike, after the great week we've had, it'd be a great week to get out there and do some yoga.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, have to try it out.
Yeah,
we'll see. Coming up, a search for more than 5 hours turns golden for a Brooklyn Park family.
But first in sports, meet two young women who umpire in the same softball league they played in as kids. John Jacobson is in next. Well, good news for Champlin Park VFW baseball. Same team that they played though the day before,
Right.
but this is a totally different outcome.
Got some better pitching. But they still got plenty of hitting, which was the combination they needed. Champlin Park and Elk River played a wild 16-15 game in the District 7 VFW baseball tournament Monday, with Elk River winning. Their rematch in the title round was not as close. The team set for the championship game in Anoka. Champlin Park grabs an early lead, too. Aaron Klepner bounces a hit to center to bring Riley Johnson home. It's the game's first run in the bottom of the first inning. In the second, Brandon Oxley lifts a short fly ball, and this is a tough one for a first baseman. The Elks can't get it, and it falls in for a hit. Riley Rader is in to score in the play, and it's 2-0 Rebels. Down 4-0, Elk River tries to get something going, but the bounce to the third results in an out at the plate. And Champlin Park keeps the shutout intact. Fourth inning, Klepner singles to right to bring Hunter Yerkes home. Champlin Park's in command with a 5-0 lead, and they're not done yet. Still in the fourth. Bruder comes through, lining a hit to center to plate Yerkes for a 6-0 lead. They get one more to lead 7-0 through 4 innings. In the fifth, it's 9-0 when Jeff Wayloggy delivers the hit that wins it for Champlin Park. His hit scores Eric Pearson with a run that gives them a 10-0 margin and the state title. 10-0 Rebels, the final.
I think the biggest thing that they got out of this, obviously a trip to the state tournament, but belief in themselves that they can come back and that they're a great team. Great team.
The state VFW tournament is in Brainerd, August 7th through the 10th. High school boys lacrosse players in the area are keeping their skills sharp in a summer league in Brooklyn Park. Blaine taking on the Osseo-Park Center at Park Center. First quarter, Blaine's Josh Hutton has time and space, fires a goal here for a 2-0 lead. Second quarter, Blaine with a point-blank chance. Nice save, though, by OPC's Logan Stile. Osseo-Park Center gets on the board in the third quarter. Jack Hauser works his way out front and scores to cut the lead to 4-1. But it's all Blaine the rest of the way. Nice passing sets up Tanner Jones for the shot and goal. Blaine goes on to win 8-2. Young softball players spend a lot of time on ball fields growing up. On this week's Official Business, Jay Wilcox profiles two young women who've found a way to stay involved.
This week on Official Business, giving back. We meet two young women who are now umpiring in the softball league they grew up playing in.
The out of bounds is going to extend from the inside fences all the way down on both sides.
College students Bree Brierly and Jesse Erickson are back on the fields in the Golden Valley Girls Softball Slow Pitch League, this time as umpires.
I played in the league for like
9 years, I think. I started in 5th grade, and when it was done, I didn't want it to be done. I loved playing in the league, and then so it just felt like a good way to give back to the league that gave me the love of softball, and it was just a good way to spend my summer and enjoy the game of softball that I used to love. So, out at 1.
It's the second year umping for Jesse, the first for Bree. Both are Armstrong graduates. They're working the junior league games, and it's enjoyable, if occasionally a little stressful.
I expected it to be a lot more difficult and to be a lot more nervous around the coaches and so scared of them, and they've been so great, and it's really made umpiring so much easier.
So there's some nights, when they make a great play and you're like, man, that feels really good, and you're kind of living vicariously through them again. But there are other nights when it's tough too, you make a tough call and you're upsetting people, and I personally just have a really hard time with that.
Both women say it emphatically. Working GVGS games means more to them than in a different league.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I do a league in another city. This is, I think, the biggest league in the state. At least it was when I was playing, and I think it still is. I have a little bit of pride in it, so it's for sure way more than the paycheck.
It's a great summer job, especially for college kids. You can come home and, enjoy being outside and enjoy the game that you used to play. And so, yeah, I probably won't make a career out of this, but for the summer, it's fun, and I really enjoy it. So I'll definitely keep doing it, at least through college.
For official business, Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Out is good at 1.
And they are just 2 of the half dozen former Golden Valley girls softball players who umpired in the league this summer. Jessie attends Gustavus, Bree, the University of Minnesota. Nice for them to get back, they get a little paycheck, they get to be outside. It's a good deal all around, I think.
Yeah, you can tell they really love it.
It's a hard job, though.
Right, it is.
It is a hard job.
It took nearly 7 weeks, but there's finally a winner.
The Golden Spud has been found. We'll show you where coming up next. Today we don't have a Spud hunt clue because guess what? It's been found.
After 7 weeks of clues, a Brooklyn Park man found the Golden Spud in Northwoods Park.
And that's when I saw the potato laying right. Actually, this might be the dent where it was. So there it was, right here.
The Mutterer family started searching after 5 clues, but they honed in on Northwoods Park after last week's clue. Dan Mutterer says the family thought about the clues and then searched for the Spud for more than 5 hours total.
It was definitely fun for our family. The kids got to play at the playground while the parents dug in through the trees. And, we definitely got to experience some of the parts of Brooklyn Park that maybe we don't normally visit.
Family wins $300 and pizza for a year. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.